Hey there, all you ghouls and goblins. Radio 85.9 proudly presents Horror Zoid with your hosts, Stevie Scares and Natalie Nightmare, talking all things horror from the 80s, 90s, and today. Today's episode is brought to you by Kramer's Cuties. Don't get trapped by their beauty. Come on down to Kramer's Cuties. Welcome to another episode of Horror Zoid, everybody. I'm Stevie Scares.
And I'm Natalie Nightmare.
And we're starting today's episode with a big ol' fuck you.
What kind of fuck you?
Who are we saying fuck you to? We're saying fuck you to everybody who told us that Megan wasn't going to be a good movie, that it being PG-13 was going to hinder it and hold it back.
Yeah.
All of the naysayers.
I
all
hope
of the
y'all
naysayers.
are eating your words.
Eat your words, because right now, we just checked it before we started recording. It is at 95% with over 200 fucking reviews.
Yeah.
Like, and Rotten Tomatoes, of course. That's our barometer for everything movie-wise anymore these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 200 plus reviews.
They've done it.
And we're sitting here, what was it? It was like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I forget how many episodes back it was, but we did our PG-13 horror episode, and the whole inspiration behind that was because everybody was like, oh, Megan got a PG-13 rating. That means it's going to suck now.
Absolutely. Once that rating dropped, that was all I was seeing.
Yeah.
Were people going, well, not excited about Megan anymore. It's not going to be rated R. And like we said then, like, yeah, is it going to be really cool to watch a little happy dancing doll like rip people's arms off? Of course. But it doesn't have to be a good movie. And it's fucking fantastic if you guys haven't seen it yet.
We just saw it a few days ago before recording this, and that's why the theme of today's episode, our title, is Three Doll Night. A little play on words there. And we're going to be talking about the 3 biggest dolls in horror. Really, it was just 2 in my opinion, but now Megan has really cemented herself as the 3rd big doll of horror. And yes, there are other dolls in horror movies. Natalie and I talked about it before we decided to do this episode, but we are going to focus on the main 3. Right now, we got Megan killing it at the fucking box office, taking some of that Avatar Way of Water money, which I love to see it.
Yep.
We got Chucky, the quintessential horror doll, like for years just stood as the only doll in horror. Like, you couldn't do a horror movie about dolls without getting compared to Chucky, and you still can't.
Sure. I mean, everyone was kind of saying that about Megan. Like, is it going to be the new Chucky? Is it going to be the new Chucky? It's like, it's just a doll.
Well, and if it heads that direction, if by is it the new Chucky, do people mean it's, a really big, bankable fucking horror character now? Then yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I think it's on that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to be talking about Megan, Chucky, and our 3rd in this triumvirate is going to be Annabelle.
Yeah.
Because you can't talk about horror dolls without talking about Annabelle. I mean, how many stores do we go into and we see, like, next to all the Child's Play and the Chucky merchandise, right there is fucking Annabelle.
Yeah. That design of the Annabelle doll has definitely cemented herself in horror. Whether you care for the movies or not, or just like the little bit of her in The Conjuring, she's up there. Yeah,
she has definitely been cemented with Chucky, in my opinion. I think before Annabelle came along, it really was just Chucky. And then you got another one with Annabelle, and now you've got Megan. And I love this. I love this that it's becoming more of a genre. And like I said, there's other doll movies out there.
Yeah.
We talked about the movie Dolls from the 80s, I think it was.
Yeah.
Pin is another one that we've talked about. Now, those movies we have not been able to watch yet, unfortunately. So that's why we're not covering them in this episode. We will do that in a future episode when they're fresh in our minds. But right now, we're just focusing on the big 3. Megan, Chucky, Annabelle.
Like, by popular vote, I guess you could say.
Right. Well, it's just for the pure fact that if I go into a fucking store, what merch am I going to see right now? And it's going to be those 3. You're not going to see, merch for Dolls or Pin or the movie that I've been talking about a lot on social lately called The Fear.
Oh.
Which has one of my favorite horror dolls in it, fucking Morty.
Yeah, I'm going to need to watch that one.
Oh, it's so good. If you guys haven't seen The Fear, go out and fucking watch it. I swear I could do a whole episode just by myself on it. I don't think that'd be entertaining for anybody, but I could, is the point. But yeah, today is going to be a fun episode. I'm excited. We're going to talk about Megan. We're going to talk about Chucky, and we're going to talk about Annabelle. And I think that's really going to carry us a big majority of the way. I mean, that's... Like, I'm not good at math, but that's like well over 10 movies that we're going to get to cover today. So
yeah, exactly.
If you're if you're not interested in any of those 3 topics, then it was fun. Thanks for sticking around. And we'll see you in the next week.
Yeah. No, fucking stay and listen.
Stay and listen. You're going to love it. Before we get to the episode, though, as usual, got some housekeeping notes to take care of. First and foremost, make sure you leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. Reviews help us grow and elevate us. And we are celebrating a huge milestone. Speaking of leaving reviews and stuff, we have just surpassed 1,000 streams as a podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you so much. If you're listening right now, you're part of this. If you're listening right now, you help make this happen. And to be over 1,000 is tremendous. It's amazing. And I don't think either one of us,
It's a whole lot of plays for two little children of the corn.
Right. That's exactly what we are. We're two little children of the corn. We're fucking Malachi and Isaac over here just trying to have a horror podcast.
Indiana, not Nebraska.
Right. Not Nebraska. Totally Indiana. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for helping us hit 1,000 streams. Here's to 1,000 more.
Yes.
Can't wait. We're going to keep bringing you a lot more content as the days come on. We do plan on launching Patreon this year. Speaking of Patreon, email us at horrorzoidpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you would like to see out of Patreon, and we'll try to make it happen for you. But in addition to that, we also are looking for scary stories. Anything paranormal, anything crazy that's happened to you, don't post it on Reddit. Fucking send it to us, and we'll read it on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Also, if you have hate mail, if you want to chirp at us, fucking send it our way. We've been watching Letterkenny for the last couple weeks, so yeah, send us some chirps.
Give us your best chirps.
Yeah, give us your chirps, man. I'd love to hear it. But fan mail is also welcomed. If you love us, we'd like to hear how much you love us. We have narcissistic tendencies just like anybody else.
Everyone likes their ego stroked a little bit.
Yeah. Send us some fucking love mail. We would appreciate it. We have low self-esteem from time to time. It would boost us up. Come on, guys. But we will read it on air. Anything you send us that is not just explicitly vile and awful shit, we will read it. So send it to us, and we'll make sure it gets on the air.
Yep.
Also, you can leave us a voice message wherever you're listening to this podcast. Go into that episode description, and there's a link where you can send us a voice message. And again, we'll play it on air. We'll respond to you. We'll answer it. We'll talk shit back to you. Whatever you want to send us, you can leave it with your voice. If you want to be not a keyboard warrior, if you want to be a little bit more than anonymous, then send us a voicemail, and we'll fucking play that on air too. So like I said, we're looking to run a Patreon and develop a Patreon here soon. Send us those ideas as they come in to horrorzoidpod@gmail.com. But also, before we launch, you can still financially contribute to the podcast without us being on Patreon. In addition to that link in the description for a voicemail, you can also financially contribute any monetary value to the podcast. We don't care if it's a penny, a nickel, whatever you want to send us. We're grateful for everything.
It's our Horrorzoid tip jar.
Yeah, it's our tip jar.
Yeah.
If you believe in tipping your server, as well you should. I don't know why you would be here if you don't share that sentiment with us. If you don't believe in tipping, get the fuck out. We don't need you. But yeah, we would appreciate any tips, any monetary contribution you'd like to give. There is a link in that description wherever you're listening to this. If it's fucking Pandora, Podbean, Stitcher, whatever any of those fucking weird ones are. If you're listening, fucking send it our way.
Yeah.
And thank you again for the 1,000 streams, guys. It's
awesome.
Phenomenal. We started this just kind of casually and thinking it would be a fun thing to do, but didn't realize that we could actually gain a following and people would actually want to hear the stupid shit we say week after week.
People want to join in on our horror conversations, and we appreciate it.
We do. We appreciate it more than you guys will ever know. So thank you again. I want to get to some shout outs. Got some cool ones this week. First off, we posted our TikTok video, and it's another week, yet again, where we are fucked by the algorithm.
Fuck you, algorithm.
Fuck you, algorithm. There's another fuck you. We started the episode with a fuck you, and here less than 10 minutes into the episode, we got another fuck you. Fuck you to the algorithm.
We don't have a PG-13 rating.
We don't. I mark these explicit on every week. I make sure they're explicit.
Listen at your own risk.
The last thing we need is some kid listening to it. It's like, Mommy, these people said fuck everybody who said Megan's not going to be a good movie. And she's like, well, they're right, but still, let's not get into that right now.
Be quiet, little Johnny.
Be quiet. Shout outs, though. We posted our TikTok video. We did get a response. I really just wanted to read this name out loud. I'm going to try not to butcher it, but I think I got the pronunciation here. User by the name of Mala Mordechka commented, who would win in a fight, Megan, Chucky, or Annabelle? And their response was Chucky.
Simple, clean response.
Yep. Short, sweet, to the point. And honestly, I think most people are going to pick Chucky just because he's the tried, true, tested name that everybody knows and loves.
And we'll pick at the end of the episode.
Yeah, we'll pick. Yeah, we'll give you our vote because it's going to be interesting for sure between the three of them. Some other shout outs we want to get to since we were fucked by the algorithm. We're going to take this time and we're going to talk about some cool people that we've interacted with lately.
Yeah.
Big shout out, big one right now. There's a documentary coming out on Blu-ray and DVD February 14th called Fredheads. And through TikTok and other forms of social media, we've gotten to know some of the people behind the scenes of the film who were very vital and instrumental in bringing this documentary to life. And basically, Fredheads is a group of Nightmare on Elm Street fans, Freddy fans, Fredheads, if you will, got together and decided to interview people who were involved in the movies, fans of the movies, and basically immerse themselves in the fandom that is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And as you can tell from the podcast, Natalie and I are massive, massive Freddy fans.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where I feel like it's kind of hard for me sometimes to express how excited I am about something. Whenever I got a message, shout out to Final Girl 13, I want to say is the screen name on TikTok, who reached out to us about this. I fucking love Nightmare on Elm Street. So the idea of getting sent something that has obviously had so much passion go into it from all these people who are equally as obsessed with this movie franchise as I am is just fucking awesome. I can't wait for this to come out and get it on Blu-ray and sit down and watch it. But this PR pack, fucking stellar. If you haven't seen the video, I think we posted it on Instagram maybe, but definitely on TikTok.
It's definitely on TikTok, at Horrorzoid Pod. Go follow us on TikTok if you're not already. And if you're not already, why the fuck are you here? Go follow us on TikTok and check out that video. We got some great, sweet little goodies in that PR pack from Final Girl 13 and the rest of the Fredheads crew. Just an amazing, amazing group of people. We're so excited for the documentary to come out. And again, since we had this time, since it's our show and we get to talk about whatever we want, we definitely wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
The TikTok video's out there, but I just wanted to give a little bit more of ourselves to it and let you know that what it meant to us to receive that PR pack and
so
what it
cool.
means that this documentary even exists.
Right, exactly. That's one of those things, if I had known about it when it was happening, I would have leapt at the chance to be part of it because, as we talked about on our introduction episode, it's a huge part of both of our childhood and our introduction to horror.
Yeah, it was really our initiation as horror fans.
Right.
And I think everybody's got that moment where they can remember what made them a fan of horror. For both of us, Freddy was a big part of that. And like you said, I think even regardless of if they reached out to us or not, this is something that would have piqued our interest.
Oh, yeah.
That Blu-ray would be on our shelf regardless of any interaction we had with these wonderful people. But we've got to know some of them, and they've been incredibly kind and generous, and I can't wait to see what they've accomplished here with this documentary. I think it's going to be just incredible.
I agree.
Yeah. Another shout out I want to give. This is really cool. We don't talk about this too much, but in the podcast website that we use, Anchor, that's where we host everything, it will tell us where everybody is from. And obviously we're from America, we're from Indiana, and I don't think we really get to reach out to our international audience too much. So I kind of want to give a little bit of a shout out. We don't know who specifically you are, but obviously I just want to say a shout out to our international listeners. I've got here on our list, we are getting streamed in Puerto Rico, Ireland, Costa Rica, India, Italy, Sweden, Australia, and of course our neighbors up north, those crazy Canucks, fucking Canada.
I love this. This makes me want to start one of those cool maps that you fill in as you have listeners in certain areas or countries. This is exciting. Like, we've talked about how a few of our videos have psychotically blown up on TikTok, and there's a lot of languages on there that we don't understand, but that's so cool to see.
It is.
I just don't have the time to sit and Google Translate every single one of them, but, I like to kind of do it just to see what people are saying. And it's cool seeing some of that kind of shift over into seeing maybe they watched that video, clicked our page, and was like, I'll give it a listen. And that's so cool to me.
Yeah, and let us know. Like I said in the beginning, horrorzoidpod@gmail.com. Email us. If you found us, on some random website, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. We want to
know
how you discovered
Zoid
us.
Army, how far our reach has gone.
Exactly. We want to know that if we end up, broke and penniless somewhere in the middle of fucking Sweden, that we can reach out to some folks and get some help.
Right.
It's good to know. We want to be able to reach out to you. But no, in all seriousness, let us know where you're from, how you discovered the show, what you like about the show. That would mean a lot to us. And I think, and again, we'll read it on air. We'll let everybody know where you're from, who you are, and, of course, with your permission.
Of course.
And we just want to share in that. Like Natalie said, we're growing the Zoid army. We say that every week, but it's not a joke. We legitimately want to, just have a group of weirdos that we can call our group of weirdos that enjoy the same kind of horror movies we do on the same level. We're not highbrow horror fans. I always say we're, today we're recording this on Rob Zombie's birthday.
Hell yeah.
So
Happy fucking birthday, Rob Zombie.
Happy fucking birthday. He was our first ever hero of Horrorzoid.
Yep.
Way back at episode 16. Feels like forever ago now.
It's wild.
And so we're not highbrow horror fans. We're not really stuck up peoples, but so send us what you got. Send us where you're from and let us know how you found us and what you like about us and what you hate about us. As I said, we expect some chirps in our inbox here soon.
Yep.
And one last shout out to a podcast that I've listened to for a long time now, for a couple years, and that Natalie has been introduced to recently, Camp Nightmare. If you listen to us and you listen to Camp Nightmare, kudos, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
You know some pretty cool people. But I love it. Jordan and JB, the hosts of Camp Nightmare, they talk about horror movies kind of the same way we talk about horror movies. It's very casual. It's not too, stuck up, hoity-toity type stuff. You just feel like it's two buddies talking.
Yep.
And that's one thing I love about them. But Camp Nightmare, they're amazing. One of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. Go check them out. You probably find them on the same streaming platform that you're using to find us.
Yep.
Just Camp Nightmare. I can't give them a shout out enough. But the reason I want to give them a shout out today is because Natalie was the winner of their giveaway over the holidays and got a cool little swag bag from our friends at Camp Nightmare, Jordan and JB. And maybe Natalie had a little bit of an edge there because, of course, her name is Natalie Nightmare.
Natalie Nightmare. It fucking works.
Yeah.
I was really excited to see that that's how they addressed it whenever they sent it to me, because they were like, yeah, what's your address? Oh, what was the last name? And I tell them my last name, but then it comes and it had my screen name, which is Natalie Nightmare, which is super fucking exciting.
It was. Yeah, it was cool to see, and they gave us some goodies, and we're going to post some of those goodies here in the near future on Instagram, on TikTok. Follow us at Horrorzoid Pod, and don't forget, last plug of everything, go to horrorzoid.com for all of our social links, where you can find us, where you can keep up to date with us, and see all of our cool shit. We're on Letterboxd. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we are on Letterboxd. I'm writing reviews for Horrorzoid on Letterboxd for us, so go ahead and follow us there. I do kind of share that stuff on Instagram too, so be on the lookout for that. But a lot of fun, cool shit out there to do if you're a horror fan, by the way. So even without plugging stuff, if you're just interested in horror movies and you don't necessarily want to do a podcast or listen to a podcast, just go check out some of the shit we've talked about, man. It's just fun to be a part of.
Yes, it is.
It really is. So without further ado, let's get into the episode here. And like we said, we're going to start with more recent, the most fun we had at a theater in a long time. Fucking Megan.
Megan is amazing.
Megan's amazing. It's as of now, it's still in theaters. If you're listening to this and it's still in theaters, go fucking see it immediately. If you're listening to this and it's already on Blu-ray or 4K or DVD, or it can be streamed into your fucking eyeball at this point, go get it. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. This movie, I mean, I had really high hopes, and obviously they were fine. No issues there. We were really excited the first day or two that it hit theaters, and we were seeing these good news roll in. But of course we had to see it for ourselves. So we got us 2 tickets and hit the theater, and holy fucking shit, is it a ride.
It is a ride. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's fucking wild to me because it does start rather on the tame side. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't kick off like into high gear. But the minute it does shift into fucking high gear, it fucking goes bananas. And I'm not sitting here saying it starts slow. I'm just saying it's one of those movies where I feel like lately, a lot of the movies, it's just like you're fucking, any horror movie, it opens up and you're in it.
Yeah.
You're just in the thick of it, right?
Yeah.
And it just goes hard like from the fucking first scene. And I don't think Megan does that. I think Megan starts off a little bit more tame. But again, once it does kick into fucking high gear, you are in for a fucking ride.
Yeah. I agree. See, and you say you think it starts kind of tame, but it starts with a fucking car accident. So if you haven't seen the trailer, it's pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot to spoil for this movie, honestly, when I say it.
Yeah.
But you have little girl in a car accident, loses her parents, living with her aunt, who also works at a really cool toy company, and is working on this development, which is Megan. And they basically, it's like her new buddy. It's like the My Buddy from the 90s, but like terrifying.
I was getting Teddy Ruxpin vibes for sure. Teddy Ruxpin always gave me the fucking creeps.
Well, see, the Teddy Ruxpin thing, absolutely, because something really fucking scary that she does in this is she can record conversations. Mm-hmm. She can mimic voices. Mm-hmm. That's like the scariest part in the movie to me, honestly, is whenever you realize she is at the point where she knows how to deceive somebody by using someone else's voice.
Right. It's so fucked up to think about, because these things aren't just fabrications of somebody's imagination. Mm-hmm. This isn't just invented by a screenwriter. Right. And kudos to Akilah Cooper, by the way. Fucking amazing writer. Yeah. She also did Malignant. She's just fucking tremendous. One of my favorite writers right now. But a lot of this isn't just something that she dreamt up. Mm-hmm. This is shit that AI is already doing.
Right. That's
what's fucking most terrifying.
It makes it really scary because obviously, again, with the trailer, it's robot gone bad. Obviously, they start to learn for themselves, and she takes protecting this girl a little bit too fucking seriously, and it just goes off the rails. But it is, we have robots that deliver room service in hotels and places in the world, and
still looking for one of those, by the way.
Right.
That would be fucking
There's
dope.
so many automated things. There's starting just from the idea of like a self-checkout. Like there's already so many things that we don't need people for. I hate to say it like that.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
As far as like this AI development, even with all the controversy around AI art, you have this scene in the movie where she draws and it's like she's a printer with her freaky ass hand movements, but she learns and develops just like all of this AI that we have now is. And that's really scary to think about because there are, we have tons of crazy robotics that we've seen in development, and they're not that far off. There's robots out there that can have conversations with you, just not at the level that, Megan does, obviously.
Right. It's like, what was the one that Honda did? Osimo? Remember Osimo?
Oh, yeah,
that
Osimo.
shit was fucking...
Well, now there's a video I saw like months ago of this, and I don't know what country it's developed in, but it looks like all fucking scary ass endoskeleton, but then it has like a male face.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it's so fucking scary.
It is though.
But I've also seen a video of like a female type robot where she like talks to people, like they ask her questions.
That's the one I saw, is the female one where she's like interacting with people.
That's scary.
Like, yeah, it's like you can like chirp at her and she'll fucking chirp back at you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a fuck you Riley, fuck you Jonesy, fuck you Shoresy type moment.
Yes, literally.
With the AI, which is fucking crazy. But it's funny you say the thing about self-checkout, because now I just want to see a TikTok video of Megan standing there and the voiceover is the insert cash or select payment type. I just fucking need somebody to make that video and send that to me so I can just giggle nonstop, because that sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it is comedic. Like, for what it's worth. And I love that they went comedic with it in certain aspects, because when you think about that on paper, it's a fucking killer robot doll. Uncanny Valley just looks fucking human. But it's like, on paper, you're like, that's funny.
Right.
That is fucking, I would laugh at that.
Absolutely.
And they didn't shy away from that. And you get good laughs.
Yeah.
It's equally as funny as it is fucking disturbing when you think about it.
No, I agree. It's disturbing because you already have that, like you mentioned, the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, I don't fucking do Uncanny Valley.
And, you get a whole scene where you kind of see her face and like the thing that they buy to like put over her. But it is really freaky to know that it's just a skin over a robot like head, but the way it just so seamlessly goes with the freaky ass eyes. Like that's what it's just
whoever fucking designed Megan, whoever was like the visual genius behind that, fucking give them an award right now, because that was one of the best horror designs that I've seen. Like they captured, like we keep using the term uncanny valley. If you're not familiar with uncanny valley, it's basically the belief that we have evolved as humans to fear things that look human but are not human.
Right.
And it's something that we've done evolutionarily that fucking has crept into us. And
Polar Express
is a great example because the dead-eyed fucking CGI they use. But essentially the theory, it goes a little deeper, and I won't get too deep into it right now, but it's that why do we fear something that looks human that isn't human? Have we encountered this before? And that's when your brain starts to hurt when you think about it too much.
Yep,
but
exactly.
essentially that's why Megan is so terrifying to us. Is the uncanny valley. She looks human, but obviously she's not human.
Right.
And she looks so close to human-like that it really does become you do hit this point in the movie where you're watching, at least I did, where I watched it and I forgot it wasn't a fucking it wasn't supposed to be a real life person. Obviously there's a person in the costume, but you realize the character is not a real life living breathing human being.
Yeah, exactly.
It really, like, mentally, like, you go places during this movie mentally where you're like, holy shit, this is uncomfortable on a fucking new level.
No, I 100% agree.
I think that's why it's so highly rated right now, and I think that's why people like it, is because, like I said, it's got some good laughs in it, but it really, when you get down to why it's so fucking scary, why this is so terrifying, you start to go into some really fucking dark places about why it's scary. It's funny, but it's fucking scary.
Well, yeah, it's like there were a lot of times we laughed out loud. She's definitely like absolutely serving cunt in some of these fucking scenes.
100%.
And like, you know, we love the dance and stuff, and obviously it's scary. You know, she's going to be stronger because she's a robot, and there's all these things she can do. The fucking trailer we saw where she like drops down on all fours and is like running like very unhuman like.
Yeah.
Scary, but
when you watch context it's
also
film,
really funny.
Yeah, add context to it. It's fucking scary.
It's super fucking scary. We don't want to spoil everything with it being so fresh. But yeah, there's definitely a lot that they don't show in the trailer. You're gonna be fucking pleasantly surprised with it, and the comedy is strong out the gate. Honestly,
it is.
Because you have this car accident scene, but then you get this fucking amazing vibe of a toy commercial, and it's this weird little fucking Furby ripoff looking thing.
Yeah. And
you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
Right. These fake ads in this thing are amazing because I love that. And I love that they talk about the butt stuff and the poop stuff.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we been in a fucking store going through the toys and been like, why the fuck is there this?
Everything's poop.
Everything's poop.
Everything's pooping slime.
Why does everybody have coprophilia all of a sudden? Like, we don't fucking, like, when did that become a fucking thing?
No, it's weird because I feel like a lot of it started with the rise of, like, the 2010s emoji aesthetic
I was getting
shit.
ready to say emojis.
Like, there was, like, emoji printed t-shirts and there were plushies
Patrick
everywhere.
Stewart played the poop emoji in a fucking movie.
I was going to say, they made a fucking emoji movie.
Yeah.
And I think people have always just, you know, like, you can go back even further and there were always the little fake gag toys, the little fake poop stuff. And it's, you know, I don't know. It's just gone on for so long. Everyone laughs at farts and poop jokes. So, like, they just kind of went with it.
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not above it.
Back to kind of what you're talking about, so people aren't like, what the fuck, why is there butt stuff in Megan? But no, like, one of the other toys that they're kind of designing has this little, like, light up butt.
Yeah.
And you're like, why?
Yeah.
And it's got these freaky little teeth. It reminds me of the little wind up teeth.
Oh yeah. I get that.
But it's like interactive toy, like you like interact with it through an app. So it's already like a high-tech toy right out the gate with
But again,
commercial.
this shit fucking exists. There are toys connected to apps now. Like, that's the fucked up thing about this movie is, like, I'm watching it and I'm like, we're probably not far fucking from this.
Right, no.
It's really weird.
But I can't remember the name of them. What they're called in the movie.
The toy company's called Funky. I remember
that I remember, which is a fucking great name for a toy company.
Well,
and
I just thought of Funko.
Right.
And I just thought that was fucking great.
Well, it's because Funko's going to dominate the world. I'm pretty sure when this apocalypse speeds up, we're going to be paying each other with Funko
It's going to be like the opening
Pops.
of Resident Evil. It's like the Funko Corporation accounts for all medical supplies and military testing. It's going to
Nope.
be something like that.
I agree.
It's
I agree.
And you get the vibe from this funky company that they're getting into that shit. Because,
Right.
like, the dude did not shy away. The guy who runs the company did not shy away when she's like, oh, I have this super fucking advanced high tech that is going to retail for, like, thousands upon thousands of dollars. And he's just like, yeah, military grade fucking weapons. Yeah, let's do this shit.
Right, literally. And it's like even the shot of the building, like when they show the funky building, like it's this huge, like giant fucking building
It's fucking
in this
Nakatomi
city.
Plaza.
Right. And like you get this fun little whimsical like camera panning through the building. There's like kids testing like Nerf gun looking things. And
Yeah, there's
all
even like
this
these
other-
isolation booths where they're playing games with each other and they're tracking the interaction.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see because you got to imagine, like, I've never been inside a toy company like this.
But there's
but
got to be kids like playing and experimenting
right.
with them. Because
You
then
gotta
how are you
imagine
going to know?
this is how it is.
Right. How are you going to know it's a good toy if kids aren't enjoying it in like a test situation?
Yeah, you can't have people our age in there. We're gonna
Right.
be like, Gemma, who's Allison Williams' character in the movie. We're gonna be like Gemma, where the kid sees toys on your shelf, and it's like, no, don't unwrap that, don't unpackage that, can't take that out of the wrapper. It's a collectible. It's not a toy.
Yes, I love
This is
that.
an action figure. It's not a toy. Do not touch it. Yeah, like Allison Williams' character Gemma goes hard in this movie for other millennials. Like I can relate so hard to this when her little niece Katie goes up to grab the fucking toy and she's like, "Oh no, sweetie.
Yeah.
No, that's not a toy."
Yeah, exactly. It's like old collectible robot figures and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's, obviously it looks like some import, maybe even shit that's, from Funky like years ago. Who knows? But I love that dynamic because like her aunt's house is like boring. There's no toys, there's no books, there's no anything,
Right.
Obviously, but she's just got these collectibles.
Yeah, she's kind of a minimalist. You get the vibe that yeah,
Right.
she doesn't like have a lot in there, or you get the vibe that it's a fucking movie house and they just set it up for like 10 minutes so that they could film there.
Right.
I mean, it is fucking Blumhouse. He's notorious for shooting shit on the cheap, so maybe we're being a little too harsh on the decor judgment of Gemma's house, but still, you get the vibe that she is kind of boring and kind of reserved for somebody who works at this awesome toy company. You
She
also
just-
get the vibe that she's a workaholic.
Yeah, she's like constantly putting things off to do this, or like, here, play with the iPad so I can go work for a while
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she just wants to work and build robots.
She just wants to work. She wants to build robots. And she's kind of neglectful of Katie, which is weird because I love that they dive into the fact that, did you create this because you didn't want to deal with your niece? Like, you didn't want to have that interaction with her. Like, you just wanted to be left alone. So you created the doll to kind of
No, because she's working on the doll way before the little
No,
girl's
she's
parents
working on the
died.
doll, but at the same time, it's like there's that moment where she fast tracks it. Like her brain goes
Well,
into
she
fucking
fast tracks
hyperdrive.
it because she's looking at this little girl. Like, you think about it, like, what she's done, and I was pulling up just so I could look at it, but the other toy that was successful from Gemma that we were talking about, the fake commercial, is called Perpetual Pets.
Yeah, the
and it's
perpetual
spelled
pets.
Purr, like perpetual.
Perpetual.
And then PETZ, so it's fun.
Gotta have a fucking Z.
And they're like, to me, they look like the old troll hair, but with eyes and teeth and little arms
Yeah,
and
that's
legs. They're
good,
really
yeah.
fucking weird
Yeah.
looking and glowing butts for some reason. But yeah, I think she just, knowing her background, she wants to build these things to like bring joy to children because obviously she has these toys that she really loves and cares for, even if she calls them collectibles. Like, she doesn't play with them.
No, I get that.
And I think it's just seeing this little girl who doesn't have anything to play with in this house and just lost her parents and is like lashing out. Obviously, she's very emotional. Makes her fast track Megan.
See, you say that, but even her coworker, even her person that's helping her develop Megan, even questions like, "Did you do this because you
Well,
you
yeah,
have
she's
somebody
talking
who-
about
who
why
gets-
don't you spend time with
right?
her?
Why don't you spend time with her? Why is Megan always spending time with her?" It's like, did you like it? She does. She kind of says like, "Are you motivated to do this more because you don't have to interact with her now?"
Right.
And I love that because it's like, oh, okay, that's a level I didn't think it would get into, but I love that they at least touch upon that because I think it is a great statement about technology that a lot of parents are just using technology to pacify the kids, and it's a great statement.
Well, and that scene kind of comes from Gemma basically kind of setting up the promo and like what it's going to sound like for this pitch. And like, yeah, it sounds great to have, a companion to be there to do things. But again, the way she's describing it, it's all like, now she can tuck her in and read her a bedtime story. It's like, that's a little too far.
Right.
It's like, if she needs someone to talk to or like tell her things that she's worried about talking about, or like, anything, like there's so many things that would benefit a little girl having an AI doll where she can play tea time or whatever because, her mom's at work or something, or
right. It should be a toy to play games. It should
right.
not be a caregiver.
Right. And it shouldn't have a limit of screen time. Cause like, like so many parents now, they do want to limit the screen time that their children have. Whereas us, we didn't really have that. It was more just, okay, it's enough, go outside and touch grass kind of shit when we were kids.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, but no one's like, you've had too much time with your Barbies. Like, no one says that.
No, it was like, no, you've been playing with them Legos a little too long. Why don't you fuck off?
But if it's electronic and there's, you're sitting there with a screen or anything, suddenly there's a time limit on how long you can play it, which is always,
I think it gets into the eyes and the strain on the eyes and shit like that.
Yeah,
but it's like, we're all fucked.
Yeah. It's like, I'm fucked for just plenty of reasons with my eyes. But it's like,
there's plenty more that's going to happen to you.
And we sat, way too close to those old TVs that,
man.
Static touched them whenever you glide your fingers
there were
across
nuclear
it.
hazards in our homes, and we're just like sitting there like faces pressed up against the glass like, I hope this doesn't have any long-term effects.
Right.
Look at us now.
But I don't think you'd have to worry about that with, Megan. But, it's still the thing that I think that I would worry more is like, you have a child playing with a doll. And, they have their imaginary scenarios and they have their own little things that they make up and play with. And, she's almost like a friend, but still has this, it's like playing imagination back. And I just feel like it would take away from like normal human development with other humans.
Think about it like that. That's a good way. That's a good point. It's like your imagination playing back with you,
right?
Which in a way isn't that a detriment to your imagination? Like the fact that it is just you and it's just your imagination, it's just you in this creative space, I think allows you to be more imaginative.
Well, because if you're like, hey, Megan, I want to have a tea party, I'm going to be a princess and you're going to be a prince.
Yeah.
And Megan's just going to be like, okay. Yeah. Like, because she's this AI development kind of learning thing.
Right.
But like,
it satiates that need of make-believe.
Right.
It's like, and you don't, and like, would you feel, as a kid, it necessary to pursue more than that?
Right, but also how are you going to like act with other people and children?
Well, and they bring that up too in the movie, that it limits social interaction.
For sure.
Allison Williams' character Gemma, I don't know why I keep referring to her as Allison Williams' character Gemma. I think I'm just like,
say Gemma.
Just Gemma. I love Allison Williams, great actress, one of my faves.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gemma. She has this moment where she says, like, it's time to go to school. And she's like, well, and Katie up to that point had been homeschooled. She's like, well, you need human interaction. And you can tell she's trying to pull her away from Megan. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the concern. Yeah. Because it has limited her social interaction. It's again, so many, I keep saying this, but there's so many good fucking statements on technology, our reliance upon it, our dependence upon it, and how we interact with it on a daily basis to the point where it has become toxic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, social media, there are people who are literally addicted to social media.
Well, totally off track here, but we've talked about it before as being one of my favorite movies, but there's the scene in Upgrade where Gray's trying to like reboot STEM and he goes to this hacker and there's like people in the corner of the room with like headsets on, but they have IVs hooked up. And he's like, what are they doing? She's like, they're in VR, like their own reality. Mm-hmm. And he's like, how long do they stay in there? And the person's just like, hours, days.
Yeah, with the IVs hooked up to them, they can really stay in that world for as long as they want.
It's zombie-like. Like, the scene is very freaky to me.
Yeah. But you get the vibe. Like, I get what you're saying, though, because the AI that's in Megan is what we've seen in similar movies, like what we'll get to later with the Child's Play remake. It got into some tech stuff. And then, like what you said with Upgrade, there are themes in this that Megan touches upon that these other films have touched upon too.
Yeah.
And part of that being, like you said, this, dependence on technology to the point where these VR people are just living in VR.
Right.
And what point do we cross that threshold of where technology is aiding us and helping us, and then it becomes a detriment to us?
Right.
WALL-E's another fucking movie that deals with this. To think about when you think about it.
Yeah, WALL-E is like the biggest, hey, stop fucking up your planet and stop relying so much on technology for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But like even fucking Blade Runner 2049, like he's in love with his like basically virtual.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's another great
partner
statement too. Yeah.
Because they can attach and develop and learn and grow with you. So like even though it's a digital thing, it's still she's specific to him and knows him and has developed with him, and that's how Megan is.
That is how Megan is. Yeah, Megan is very
Katie.
much like it's like I could see if they were to tell me if Akilah Cooper and James Wan, who came up with the story for Megan, praise be James Wan.
Praise be James Wan.
If they were to say that they took elements of Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 to help kind of create some of this interaction between Megan and Katie, I'd be like, oh, honey pea. Like, I totally fucking see that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The blend of sci-fi and horror is my favorite because you get stuff like this where it's very based in reality. Obviously, we're a little bit further away from a $10,000 doll that interacts with your child, because
give American Girl 5 years and we've got one.
I just don't know about her moving around the way she does. It'd be a little different, but if she just kind of had basic movements and things like that, like she's still pretty fucking advanced, the way she reacts with her surroundings and stuff. But we also have fucking Roombas with tiny cameras that watch where they're going. So I don't know, maybe we could see a Megan within our lifetime.
It's possible. I mean, we can't rule anything out. We could go on about Megan for days, guys. Yeah. Literally, we could go on about this movie. It's so good. Go out and see it if you haven't already.
And honestly, the PG-13, like the shit that it gives you is fucking great. Some good jump scares, some great jump scares, honestly. Very smart ones, some great fucking campy dialogue that you get.
Tremendous campy
the
dialogue.
sass from Megan just gets amazing, and obviously the dancing. So it's fucking worth every PG-13
it is worth
minute.
It. And like I said, even if you're listening to this later and it's on Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, whatever the fuck the format is, whenever you're listening to this, go get it. Like, I mean, the minute it's released, I'll pre-order it. The minute it's up on fucking Amazon, I'll pre-order it. I'm ready. But the next one we're going to talk about is the guy who started it all, Chucky.
Of course.
The first killer doll, in our opinion. The first celebrity killer doll. I'll put it that way.
Right.
Because obviously, like we talked about, we had dolls, we had Pin, we had other fucking movies, and in the mix of all the Chucky stuff, we had Puppet Master and all that shit. So killer dolls have been a thing before Chucky, but Chucky was the one that really brought it into the mainstream. And the first movie was Child's Play in 1988. Forgive my accent there. But it was directed by the great legendary Tom Holland, who of course did Fright Night, one of our absolute favorites.
Absolutely.
So Tom Holland, instrumental in bringing Chucky to life. We watched the documentary on Shudder not too long ago. Was it like Monsters That Made Us or some shit like that?
Yeah.
But we watched that and we got to hear Tom Holland talk about it. We got to hear Don Mancini, which listening to Don Mancini talk about the origin and the creation of Chucky and what he was able to create there by coming up with this idea of this killer doll.
Also, I'm going to segue and say that Mancini welcomed Megan to the quote dollhouse, as he said.
That's right.
So getting the blessing from him is pretty fucking awesome.
I mean, he's
because everyone
God tier
was
at this
saying,
point.
"Is she gonna be the next Chucky?" And he said, "Come on in."
Yeah.
I think that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, he gives his blessing that this is a great killer doll follow-up. Like, for somebody like Don Mancini and what he created with Chucky, you've got to imagine that seeing all these offshoots and all these spawns and all these homages has got to feel tremendous.
Right, because, I mean, we talk about real life toys. Like I mentioned, My Buddy. Like I remember kids having those, and they freaked me out as a kid. And I always would think of Chucky because I didn't see the movies when I was that young, but I knew what Chucky was.
Yeah,
and
the good guy dolls and all that shit.
Right. And I remember everybody wanted a My Buddy, and that's what I would always think of whenever I'd see those when I was little. But I mean, Chucky is one of those series, you know, it's grown so huge, but it's also never strayed from its story. Like, there's no reboots, and I'm not talking about the remake, but it's just gone from point A to point B. Like, even into the series, it just keeps continuing itself. There's no fucking requels and all this shit. And I think that's something about Chucky that's so fucking special and a lot of people love.
Oh, I get what you're saying, that like it's still canon to the original 1988.
Right.
Like what we're seeing right now, it's on TV
Yeah.
on Chucky, is still canon to that fucking original movie from 1988. Like
Yeah.
that's got to be one of the longest ongoing continuous stories that we've had in film and TV.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're still seeing it to this day in that TV series is fucking tremendous.
It is.
And Natalie and I will get it out of the way right now. We have not started watching the series yet. I know there's 2 seasons in the book. We have not watched them yet.
And I think season 1 just dropped on Shudder.
Season 1 dropped on Shudder. We own it on Blu-ray. We're ready. We're ready to watch it. We just have
We've
not
had it.
Yeah.
It's on our to be watched.
Right. We just haven't got to it yet. So we will not be covering the TV series here today. But yes, we will be covering the movies. And like you said, like it never strayed away from who it was. And I love that. I love that you said that because it really didn't. When you watch that 1988 movie, it is everything that the movies, up until a few years ago were. It's campy, it's funny, it's irreverent, but at the same time, it's one of those, like I said with Megan, you read it on paper about this killer doll,
Right.
about this serial killer transfers his soul to a fucking killer doll. Ade do Dambala. When you hear this, you're like, you laugh, you chuckle, you're like, that's
Right.
fucking comical. And you do get those laughs. They don't shy away from the laughs, but they deliver so much more. This fucking, the way it was shot with the little feet running around, with the
Yes.
sound effects, with the fucking gore that they were able to
even
pack into it.
seeing the different, and this is something that I really liked about Megan as well, is whenever you get to see like some of the like the puppets that they built for Chucky, and you see
Yes.
those freaky little endoskeleton
Yep.
heads, fucking love that.
Yeah.
I eat that shit up. Endoskeletons all day, every day. Super
Well,
scary.
Again, tying back to Megan here, because that's kind of the impetus of all of this. The releasing of the behind the scenes footage in lead up to the movie's release was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who in Blumhouse or whatever is studying the marketing, but people like me and you and probably people listening to this podcast eat that shit up.
Yeah, we
How many
do.
times have we talked about? We watched that thing on Shudder that talks about like what you're talking about, the dolls and the little effects that went into making this, and
Yeah.
the coordinators that were behind the scenes on all of this. We eat that shit up. But instead of waiting to put this on the Blu-ray or the DVD or release this on a documentary 10, 20 years from now and reaping the benefit later, they straight up just fucking started and said, here's the behind the scenes footage. We know you motherfuckers want it. So here it is. And
Right,
we were not
absolutely.
disappointed. Like, it just made me want that movie more.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm sure in 1988, and even following with the fucking sequels, if you could have done that with Chucky, released some of that behind the scenes stuff beforehand, I'm sure it only would have made its legend greater, like what it's
Yeah.
done with Megan.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, and I feel like I just said something where I was like, God, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of these like behind the scene things on TikTok. It was like I kept getting a shit ton of them. Just
Yeah.
like
I got a
those
lot of
photos.
them on Instagram, I feel
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
like and we love those. Whether it's the iconic picture where he's got the Michael Myers mask up and he's taking a sip
oh,
of
the
soda.
Dr. Pepper.
The Dr.
Yeah,
Pepper,
yeah, I love that shot.
Or it's someone kissing Doug Bradley in Hellraiser, or just any...
Doug Bradley with the shawl hanging off
Yeah,
his shoulders. That's
yeah.
one of my favorite behind the scenes shots. I love
Yes,
it. Yeah.
I love stuff like that. And even seeing the little behind the scenes, I'm a huge fan, as I've said before, of when I'm watching something, of wondering how they did it.
Yeah.
I love knowing
The machinations of everything that go into it. I
whether
agree.
it's CG, or it's practical effects. I love seeing how they do a scene. I just think it's so cool. Oddly enough, one of my favorites, that even though it's not CG, but I just saw, it's totally off track, but I'm going to say it. The scene from Barbarian where she's like falling on the end, they actually just did in like a room, and she's on these wires and making the motions like she's falling. There's just lights moving
No
past
shit.
her. coolest fucking thing
That
I've
is
seen.
the coolest shit. Fucking A.
And that's the kind of stuff that I think about, like, watching Megan. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you have a young girl who is the body of Megan.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of shit that she does in the movie that's pretty athletic.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a couple of scenes where you can tell it's like a doll, and I fucking love that.
Oh my god! Because there's the scene in Megan where they take her to a picnic and they have to put her on a table, and the scene where they fucking put her on the table is just...
She's like sitting in with the teddy bears.
Oh,
and
it's so good.
But
it's so fucking
that
good.
kind of stuff, it brings me back around to Chucky, thinking about those little scenes.
Yeah.
We just saw the one with for the scene for when she's like, say something, and she's like shaking him, and he turns and he's fucking yelling and cussing at her, and she
bitch, you stupid. Yeah, I fucking love that.
The scene where she drops him and he rolls under the couch, they actually did with like a slanted set.
Yes, I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Roll under the couch, because you can't just drop a doll and it fucking tumbles away.
I want to say that was on 101 Scariest Movie Moments, where they're talking about Chucky and what made him scary in that scene. And yes, they filmed it with a slanted floor. Like, I know we're kind of all over the place. We're supposed to be talking about Chucky, and we're talking about 10 million other things, but it all ties back to, these little behind the scenes fucking tidbits that we've learned over the years. Because honestly, like Natalie said, and I'll fucking second it, that is one of our favorite aspects, is we watch these movies and we're just wondering the whole time, how did they do that?
Right.
How did they do that? And for nerds like us who are thinking that sort of thing, Chucky is probably, in my head, correct me if I'm wrong for anybody else, but he's the ultimate when it comes to that, because there were so many little tricks and little fucking ways that Tom Holland and all the crew involved just use their surroundings and use these unconventional methods to make Chucky look fucking more terrifying than a little 3-foot tall doll should.
Right. And that continues even into the series. I saw a picture, I think it was Jennifer Tilly posted a picture where there's all these different Chucky dolls behind her, and it's because they have so many that they film with, and like different heads for certain expressions and things they might need to do. Obviously he's gonna, some of my favorites are like the battle damage shit where you can like see the inside of his face, and I just think that's so cool, like how many fucking Chucky dolls are out there.
Well, I'm a firm believer that I think the reason they did Cult of Chucky is just fucking Don Mancini looked around one day and was like, God, we got all these fucking dolls. What do we do with them? And he just made a fucking movie where there's tons of Chuckies.
I love Cult of Chucky for that.
Cult of Chucky is so fucking good. And I was just sitting here thinking,
movie.
One of my favorite Chucky moments that I can't do this episode and not talk about it, because I think it was one of the few times we had the wool pulled over our eyes as fucking horror fans, was fucking Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
Was I the only one, and maybe I'm just sitting here and romanticizing it more than it was, but was I the only one who thought that was a reboot?
I could kind of see how you can gather it a little bit.
Right, like I swear I thought that was a fucking reboot. And then I watched it, and that fucking scene where she's got him, I think she's got him up in the attic, and it starts to peel away kind of the fucking facade, and you realize it's the same fucking doll, and it's still Charles Lee Ray, and it's still fucking Brad Dourif, and you're just like, this is fucking amazing.
I fucking love that.
I felt like
scene.
a kid again watching Curse of Chucky.
That's a fun reveal.
It was such a good reveal, and for me, it wasn't spoiled.
No,
like I said, when I finally saw it, because I think I didn't see it till it went to DVD or Blu-ray. Like I didn't see it until it got released for that, and I was like, this is fucking great. This is just so good.
They are. That's one of those things, though, is I feel like every Chucky movie, no matter where you might rank them, they all have this fun and this magic. Like, there's going to be shit in them that you don't care for.
Yeah.
Or, everyone talks about Seed of Chucky. It usually gets kind of on the low end. But
I mean, I can see why, but it is so good still in its own right. It's so much fucking fun.
And obviously, Glenn and Glenda have taken off into the series. I know a little bit about that.
Right.
And to see that continue, you take these two characters and make them even bigger than, because so many people fucking hated Glenn and Glenda.
When it first came out, I remember there was a lot of backlash about it. But again, as you think about it, it's like when you look at Don Mancini integrating this very progressive character into this movie about killer fucking dolls, you're like, holy shit, like this is a big statement to make, but he does it so well. And I think Don Mancini was the right fucking person to make that statement. I think he's just, since he took over directing the series, I think I mean, you can't get any better. I mean, it came from the man's mind. Like, you're literally seeing him take what was in his mind all these years, watching other people direct these movies, and now you get to see him with the TV series and being more hands-on. You're like, fuck, this is what he's always wanted to do with these characters, and it's cool to see him finally doing it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's why I think Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky and Seed of Chucky were also fucking fun. But, again, we can't talk about Chucky without talking about the fact that one of the reasons he is such a huge fucking icon in the horror world is he helped create another horror icon with fucking Tiffany.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, God, yeah.
Like, you mentioned Jennifer Tilly, of course, the actress who has voiced Tiffany from the beginning when she was introduced in Bride of Chucky, which I will sit here and fucking state that it is my absolute favorite Chucky movie of all time.
Her introduction is absolute fucking cinematic perfection.
It's breathtaking.
There's nothing wrong with it. She makes the movie perfect. Any flaw in that movie is fixed by her simply fucking existing in that opening.
Right. Oh, I absolutely agree with you. Jennifer Tilly comes out of the gate and you're just like, she's a fucking bombshell. She is smoking hot.
She's got the black leather mini skirt on.
Right. She's hell on high heels.
Cool.
Like, she is just so fucking cool. She's the epitome of fucking cool. She's like James Dean level cool in Bride of Chucky. And then when she takes on the persona of the doll.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, my God. It's just like it's magnified and amplified by fucking 20 million. And you're just like, this is everything that Chucky needed. Because up until that point, it was only like you had Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, and 3 did not leave a good taste in people's mouths.
No.
So they knew they had to come out with something strong out of the gate. And man.
Holy shit.
Adding Jennifer Tilly as fucking Tiffany, Bride of Chucky, it is one of the best campy fucking horror movies that I've ever seen in my life. And again, I will say it's my favorite Child's Play. It's my favorite Chucky movie by far.
That's really hard for me to pick, but I would probably put it pretty high up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like of course everybody loves the original. 2 is really fun. People hate 3. Bride of Chucky though is it for me. Seed of Chucky's fun. Cult and Curse, I can't think of them without thinking of each other. Yeah. They're a blast. And I'm sure the series is great too. Like you said, we know a little bit about what's going on, but it's one of the most fun movie franchises in history. Like, you can't watch a Child's Play movie and not enjoy yourself.
Right. And I'm going to say another thing that I love in the continuing theme that Chucky has. Obviously Jennifer Tilly is still around playing her fucking role. But the fact that you also, and I forget which movie she came into, but you get fucking Fiona Dourif.
Yeah, she came in at Curse of Chucky. She came in at Curse of Chucky. Yes. And Fiona, Brad's daughter, has now joined. It's a family legacy, family saga here.
And she fucking owns it. There's the scene whenever she puts on like the coat and the kind of mask presenting clothes because Chucky's like the
right,
possession.
Because now Charles Lee Ray doesn't just inhabit the doll. Charles Lee Ray now inhabits Fiona Dourif's character, which is, her name's fucking escaping me.
Nika.
Nika. I knew it started with an N. But yes, so he inhabits Nika now.
Yeah.
And it's fucking crazy. And then you get that scene at the end where Fiona and Tiffany, or Jennifer Tilly, like, it's still really, I'm still really not fucking quite sure anymore how it's all shaking out.
Tiff.
But Nika and Tiff have that moment where they kiss and you're like, holy shit. Like, how Fiona is able to capture that same chemistry that fucking that Brad and she had, like, as Tiffany and Chucky. It's so great to see how this is all coming together.
Yeah, because Chucky and Tiffany's chemistry is fucking beautiful. Like,
just through the charts.
Yeah, it's fucking phenomenal.
Off the charts and through the roof. I just combined two similes there.
Hey, it's fucking all right.
There you go.
But the way that carries into Nika's character, or Chucky, Nika, Chucky,
yeah.
Nika? I don't know. Again, we still
Scott.
need to watch.
That's what it makes me think of.
I know we still need to watch the show, and I've seen a lot of people talk about some steamy scenes that made them feel questionable because
all kinds of ways.
Jennifer Tilly
vapors.
Is just an absolute fucking stunner.
Right. Even after all these years, Jennifer Tilly
she could
can
just
still
slap me.
Fucking get it.
She'd slap me and I'd say thank you.
Like, I've been down bad for Jennifer Tilly since Bound. Like, I'm not about to fucking, like, I'm not getting off that train anytime soon. She is still a fucking smoke show.
Yes.
Thank you, Jennifer Tilly, for being just like the woman of all of our dreams here in the world of horror. We fucking love you.
And Fiona coming in hot.
And Fiona coming in with just so much energy. Like, you can tell, I just picture Brad Dourif sitting her down and be like, don't fuck this up for me.
Yeah.
This is my life. This is my
Right.
reputation. I cannot have you coming in and making me look shitty, so don't fuck it up. And she didn't.
No.
She fucking did
She
not.
owned it, and,
she knocked it out of the park.
She's like, I think in her early 40s. So it's like, to me, that's young.
Right.
And, she has so much more that she'll be able to give to Chucky no matter where it goes, whether it's just the series continuing for a while. I don't know where that's, if they're still planning to do more seasons or not, but I just hope that it continues this path because it's beautiful, and I'm fucking eager. We're probably gonna end up sitting down next week and just fucking binging the show.
I can't wait.
Talking about it's got me more pumped about it.
Oh, I know, right? Well, yeah, I'm super pumped to finally sit down and watch the show, but I'm sitting here thinking, and it's like, how many franchises do you hear people bitch about?
Right.
Everyone's
Everyone's picking apart Halloween. Everyone's picking apart Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
Everybody picks
even
apart
Scream. And Scream is one of those that I also love because it's never broke its timeline.
No.
And I know a lot of people kind of shit on the third one, or they shit on the new one. Obviously, we're about to get 6 here in like a fucking month.
Yeah.
I still fucking love all of them. I love Scream.
It's easily the most consistent fucking series next to Child's Play, in my opinion. Like,
I
that's
agree.
that's the point I was trying to make. It's like, people shit on all these different franchises, but I don't think you can shit on the Child's Play franchise.
Right.
Like, people shit on the remake, and let's just fucking get into it while we're on it. The remake is not bad. We've said it before. We talked about it in our Remake Me Bad episode.
Well, and we were talking about it last night that a lot of the things that people hated about it, they love about Megan.
No shit. That's what I'm saying.
Not a big spoiler, but there is a part that I laughed out loud in Megan whenever she is sitting there with Katie.
She's comforting her
because this little girl who, by the way, Violet McGraw. She's from Haunting on Hill House. Amazing.
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep. Amazing fucking little girl. The way that she can perceive grief will just never cease to amaze me.
Yeah.
And she does it again in this movie, just slam dunks it. But Megan starts singing. And I lost it. Like,
I did too. We both started dying in the theater.
And it's just this happy little fucking thing that she obviously makes up. And all I could think of was no one liked it what Chucky sang.
Exactly. Nobody liked You Are My Buddy.
Which, I'm sorry, if you give me Mark Hamill singing You Are My Buddy, I don't care.
I was there
the
fucking minute they announced that Mark Hamill was doing the voice of Chucky. Like, we were all apprehensive about Child's Play, the remake. But then you announce Mark Hamill. He's fucking singing. You got a great performance from Brian Tyree Henry, Aubrey Plaza, great cast, great everything. I thought the remake was fucking solid, 100%. No argument here. I thought it was a great fucking remake, and I will die on that hill.
I understand some of the movie's got some flaws.
They all do, though. That's part of why we love the Child's Play movies.
Exactly.
They all are flawed movies.
But as far as, it has a cohesive story. I don't feel like I sat there going, wait, what about this part?
No, not at all. Not at all.
It was all very straightforward. I get that you don't have a serial killer transferring his soul into a doll.
I'm telling you, if they would have said Ade Du Dambala once in that fucking movie, people would have been like, it'd get 10 more % on Rotten Tomatoes easily.
I agree. I think that was one of the sore spots. You basically have a disgruntled worker who's obviously working probably for fucking pennies.
Yeah, because I think it's even presented like it's a sweatshop in
It's
another country.
It's presented.
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's presented like it's very poor working conditions. It doesn't look like a place where you would be making these high-tech dolls. And
doesn't look like a factory where you'd be making happiness for children.
Right. It
looks like the opposite.
Everything
of that.
looks and that's the vibe.
It's like the mailroom in Elf. He's like, it smells funny and people look like they want to hurt me.
Right.
That's what it looks like in the beginning of fucking Child's Play remake.
It is the mailroom in Elf. That's fucking hilarious.
I'm telling you, you're gonna see Elf next year. We're gonna watch it for Christmas. You're like, oh, it's the fucking sweatshop at the beginning of Child's Play.
But that's the thing is like you get it. Like it's a shitty condition for this guy who obviously probably needs to get paid more. or just not even fucking work there. And he decides he's gonna fuck with like the coding into this doll as he's working on setting it up, and basically programs it to malfunction and be fucked up, but it just becomes evil.
It's a little bit of a step above hero programming Baymax to karate chop. This guy was like, no, I'm going to program this thing to fucking destroy people.
I want it to fucking cut people's heads off.
He literally made a murder doll.
Right, literally. So, that's how he is an evil doll. He seems really glitchy when Andy takes him out of the box.
Which at least that was intentional. In Megan, it's accidental. Like, they didn't want her to be a fucking homicidal rage-filled monster.
Yeah.
She just turned into one by accident. This guy was like, no, he's going to kill people.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Fuck you guys. I'm out.
And I'm not picking apart Megan. I'm just saying it's a difference. And in my opinion, if you're going to give me the choice, should it be incidental or should it be purposeful? I'm going to say should it have purpose.
Yeah.
And so like out of those two, plot points, I think fucking Child's Play 2019 has a little bit of an advantage there in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, especially for a horror movie,
there's
obviously
logic.
Megan is the good gone wrong vibe that you get.
Right.
And, this
there's a method to the madness.
Is good gone fucked up. But yeah, I think the kills in the 2019 Child's Play are solid. I love that there is a big blanket statement about the way technology has affected us as a society. And there's a lot of undertones like that through the movie, whether it's, Chucky himself, or there's a lot of scenes at like the store that has all the electronics with the drones flying around and shit. But something that's really cool that Chucky does is like he like can hack into other shit. And and this is an advantage that I would say Megan has, as she does it way faster. And she hacks into all sorts of different fucking things.
It's true, yeah. She's fucking hacking into everybody's shit.
He basically makes a bunch of other possessed dolls, and like I mentioned the drone, there's like the thing spinning with fucking knives on it and shit. It's like, what the fuck happened here?
I thought it was fucking tremendous. Like, I love those details. It's almost like it's tech, when you realize that it's tech that could be used like for fucking terrorism. I mean, like it's fucked
honestly,
up when you think about it. And that's kind of the vibe I got with Child's Play 2019, and maybe it went a little darker than Megan did. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why people didn't like it, because when you think about it, like they do kind of make that statement about the sweatshop in the beginning of the exploitation of people of color in a foreign country. I mean, it's like it's straight
making
up what it is.
Toys for little American
It's fucking
children.
exploitation.
Yeah.
So it didn't leave people with a warm fuzzy fucking feeling, but it wasn't supposed to. You're supposed to feel like a piece of shit when you leave that movie theater, and I think that's why people didn't like it.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think if you make people look in the mirror at themselves, they're gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah, I agree. It's whenever we left the theater and I was kind of like, I'm sitting there letting it digest. And, it's been a while since we've watched it. Honestly, I don't think we've watched it probably since it came out. But I just remember thinking about a lot of different scenes in that movie made me feel about my, how I feel about my connection to like my phone. Like it's like an addiction.
It is, yeah.
And that's how they kind of push it in Megan. Like, it's really hard for kids to, like, even when she's playing with, like, the little pet thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
And the mom's like, what's the point of having a toy if you have to play with it through your tablet?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of how a lot of this stuff feels.
Well, you get that with Gemma, too. Gemma is addicted to her technology. Like, she can't put her fucking phone down for a minute. She can't put her tablet down. She's always, like, working and shit. It's not just working. I mean, you get the vibe that she's also doing social media on there too. I mean, nobody just works 24/7.
Right.
So,
but it's
always on her phone.
Yeah, it's a huge theme through both of them. Mm-hmm. And we've had other movies kind of show like the dangers of technology. Again, my favorite, the opening for the Scream movie with the electronic doors that are controlled through the app.
Yeah, like that
that's
Nest
scary
system
shit.
that they've got. Yeah.
Yeah, and like everyone's always talking about your home listening devices, listening to your conversations.
Now, we can't say the names because we have them. We're guilty of it just as much as anybody else, and we can't say those names because we've got them here too, guys.
Exactly. We're not, I am no better man. But also people have talked about like getting pictures off of your Roomba and like, anyone can tap into the thing and like take pictures in your living room. And
they're going to regret that
like,
a lot more than I do. Trust me. That's all I got to fucking say.
They're going to just see us sitting here smashing fucking Taco Bell.
My fucking FBI agent, whoever's watching me, has to be just scarred at this point. They're like, don't make me go back. He's awful.
He's harmless. He's not doing anything.
He's just annoying as fuck. Don't make me watch him anymore.
He just sits around and watches and quotes Letterkenny
all the time.
Now, yeah, it's a huge theme.
It
and
is.
Obviously the next one, we both had the right idea here. The next one segs very far away from technology. It does not have the similar theme, but again, like we said at the beginning of the show, I feel like her image alone has put her in our trio. Yes. She might be down on the bronze for the levels, but I think she just made it in. And of course, we're talking Annabelle, as we said at the beginning.
We got to talk about Annabelle. It's like those movies to me go hand in hand with Chucky and with Megan. It's just different.
Right.
And obviously it holds its origins with the Warrens, and as I said, was it last week or the week before, whenever, fuck the Warrens,
but
fuck Ed,
obviously,
fuck Lorraine, awful fucking human beings. I'll say it till the cows come home.
Yes, you will.
Sorry, I had to get on my soapbox there.
He gets a little angry sometimes.
I do,
but
especially when it comes to Ed and Lorraine.
Obviously, we all know it's based off of the real story of Annabelle, which was actually a Raggedy Ann doll. Not too scary, but is kind of creepy because I did have a Raggedy Ann and Andy as a child, as many of us fucking younger millennials did. But obviously that's not as creepy as the concept that whoever designed this, I honestly don't know, did a fucking amazing job of making this lovely doll with little happy blonde pigtails and a pretty white dress, but then her face is really fucking scary. Well, like the smile, the eyes.
Her face is almost like Mona Lisa. How they talk about if you look at it different ways, it's almost like one minute it looks like she's smiling, next minute it looks like she's frowning. Are her eyes open? Are they closed? Different people look at the painting and they experience different things, and I feel like Annabelle's design is very much plays on that same factor. Not quite as much.
No, I get
but I
what
think
you
it definitely
mean.
plays on that. It's like you look at it different ways, and it looks like there's obviously that iconic shot of I think it's from the first Conjuring movie where she's in the rocking chair and she turns her head.
Yeah.
And like when you get that side eye, like right before she starts turning her head, there's something really fucking dark about the way she does that.
For me, it's like her cheekbones, which, like, I mean, her contour is clearly very well done.
She's got a strong jawline.
But it's the way they do the smile, like the lines in the doll's face with the high cheekbones. Like she's almost like forcing her smile. Is just, and obviously again the wide eyes. Like she's just a creepy looking doll.
There's some uncanny valley there, as we mentioned with Megan.
Yeah,
and that's the
I
thing
agree.
with Chucky and Megan and Annabelle is with
Chucky
the doll
had
horror.
A lot of that for me in the Child's Play 2019. I know that was another of people's complaints was like the style of that doll.
Could have been better.
His face was a little weird for me, but again, it was Mark Hamill, so I just accepted it.
Yeah,
but
the design didn't bother me too much.
Love I think the thing that bothered me the most about it was that it didn't change much when he was like evil, whereas like you have the little My Buddy doll, and
go
he's
the lazy
like,
thing. It was like, oh, he has red eyes now. Now he's evil because he has
evil.
red eyes. Oh.
Whereas like you have the happy like little good buddy doll face, and then he's like, you fucking bitch, and like his whole face changes, and it's like
just shifts. I love it.
Like everything moves.
Yep.
And so I can kind of see, but like with Annabelle,
right?
She does kind of have that freaky little uncanny valley look, especially in the first movie where she's like placed with all the other dolls that are like normal fucking porcelain dolls.
You're talking about the first Annabelle movie.
Yes, the first Annabelle movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which like fuck that lady with all her dolls anyway. Like I'm sorry if you guys collect dolls. I'm never visiting your house. They're fucking scary.
We will love you from a distance.
I'll love you from a distance.
Yeah, if you have a creepy doll collection, we want nothing to do with that.
But you can send us a picture. Like,
yeah,
I'll
we'll
look at
pictures.
it.
We'll look at it. We will enjoy it from a distance. We'll love you from a distance.
Or if you have like a grandma that has like a shit ton of old vintage dolls, like just take pictures.
Yeah, if you have any fucking creepy doll stories, send those horrorzoidpod@gmail.com. We'll I can't wait to read those.
Yeah, please send us a doll story. That'd fucking make my whole year. And it's just the first month. But yeah, I mean that scene in the first Annabelle movie where she puts her with all the other dolls in the room, I'm like, that's the one that you wanted? Like, she's really scary looking compared to all the other ones.
Right, and isn't she bigger than a lot of the other dolls too?
She's quite large.
It's like they couldn't even get a doll collection that was like where you'd be like, oh, of course she'd want this for her doll collection. No, you're like, that is fucking sore thumb, dog.
She
Like,
feels
why
very
would anybody want that fucking doll?
out of place and weird to me. But
Yeah, like the whole fucking time. Like that first movie is very. I know the first movie gets shit on a lot, and trust me, there's a detail that I found out that I will shit on it with you guys, but it's not that bad. It's another one where it's like people bitch about Halloween Ends. It's not that bad.
No.
People bitch about the first Annabelle. It's not that bad.
I'm going to bring this back for you guys.
Yeah.
First Annabelle movie, Rotten Tomato score 28%. 73% of Google users liked this movie. It's a fun movie with one of my favorite fucking scenes, honestly, in a good creepy horror movie. The basement scene when she goes down, there's a weird storage area and the elevator won't go back up.
Oh.
That scene freaks me the fuck out because
In
not only
general,
is it
elevators getting stuck freaks me out.
I say elevators not wanting to move, like the door just keeps opening, but then you're seeing something in the darkness and the elevator still won't go
You're not just
up.
seeing anything. You're seeing fucking Joseph Bishara down
Hell
there.
yeah, fucking Joseph Bishara.
Yeah.
Also, the lipstick demon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you fucking put me down there, I'm gonna I don't even want to be in the same room as that guy, and he might be the nicest fucking person on earth. I don't want to be in the same room with him. He is fucking terrifying.
He makes really good music and really good demons.
He does. Like in fucking Annabelle, like that basement scene.
Yeah, because it's like this pitch black
Ick.
thing with like horns and freaky long fingers, which I love the long fingers. That's something that's always scared me. So
Stevie
it always
no
gets
likey.
me.
Stevie no like.
There's the scene where she decides she's gonna run and go for the stairs, and she's running up the stairs, and you see it's like hand like going up the banister. Solid scares in this movie. Yours being kind of more towards the beginning of the movie. You were talking about your favorite part in the first movie.
My favorite part is the scene that keeps being brought up in all the other fucking movies is the I like your doll. Yeah, it's where the fucking girl comes in trying to take Annabelle and the fucking
she's just like covered in blood and holding a doll.
Which leads us to the second fucking movie, Annabelle Creation. We find out literally the creation of Annabelle, so the title delivers, but it ties into the first fucking movie because you're watching this and you're like, oh, they went prequel because they just like that movie got 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was not great.
Right.
Like they are distancing themselves from it, just doing a prequel. And it's great because the whole time you're like, this doesn't tie into the original at all. But there's so many great, like Annabelle Creation might be one of my favorite movies in the fucking whole Conjuring universe because it plants so many fucking seeds. You get the ending, which ties her as the girl who tries to kidnap Annabelle, tries to take the doll in the first movie. That's who, of course, we get at the end of the movie. I think her name's Janet. Janice. Yeah, she gets possessed by this whole fucking demonic entity that keeps going around.
The
this
Annabelle
fucking
demon.
The
We'll
Annabelle
just call
demon.
it that.
The
But
Annabelle demon.
It's obviously, as you know, from the Conjuring movie where they talk about something's possessing the doll and it's looking for a vessel.
It's like the first scene in the Conjuring movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember I was so excited for that because that part with the people getting the notes and like having her move around the house, like that's a huge part of her like actual true story.
Right. That was most of that was real shit that they were talking about. Like the people who experienced this paranormal phenomenon that is Annabelle, that was 100% ripped from their fucking actual confessions.
And super cool.
Yes.
Whereas the Annabelle and Annabelle Creation just kind of take that little bit and fucking run with it. But yeah, you get you see why, like, you have literally the doll maker. Like, he makes the dolls.
Played by Anthony LaPaglia, one of my favorite fucking actors.
Yeah.
Love Anthony LaPaglia.
Does a fucking amazing job in this movie of being a very
damaged, broken, grieving
I was like
father.
looking for a good fucking word for it, and I just couldn't. But yeah, he's broken is fantastic.
He's a broken man, and he portrays that so incredibly well.
Because he loses his daughter.
Yeah.
And then
that scene.
Oh
my God, that fucking scene. It sticks with me.
Yeah.
That fucking scene of her. I don't even remember what she drops in the fucking road, but I just know she goes in the road, fucking just pancaked.
Yeah.
Right there.
And it's
that scene fucked
there's
me
a cutoff,
up.
but it like pushes it to the very last fucking like 100th of a second.
It's one of the best I've ever seen of anybody doing that cutoff.
And then it just cuts and you see the doll that she was holding, like its face is broken. And so it's like, yeah, they lose her.
Traumatic.
And so basically this house is now being open to basically
These little orphan
the sisters,
girls.
the little orphan girls, and there's the sister Charlotte comes with them, the lady that plays the like nun or whatever that's with them.
Yeah.
And you get all these cool haunting, spooky shit that starts to happen.
But with Sister Charlotte, you get one of my favorite fucking little Easter eggs where she's showing Anthony LaPaglia's character
Yes.
the picture of her in her convent, and he says, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
Well, who the fuck is it? It's fucking Volok, and it's god, it sets
it's
up the
such
nun
a-
so fucking well.
It's such
I love
a
it.
good little fucking nugget just sitting there because, he points and goes, "Who's that?" And it's like, you see the picture and it's just fucking darkness behind them for where they're standing. And you can just see her face like floating there.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, most of the outfit is black, so it just blends into the darkness.
Oh, it's one of
And
my
yeah,
favor's little setups for a
absolutely.
fucking sequel, and it's just literally like fucking 5 seconds, and
But
he's just like,
this-
"Who's that?" And she's like, "Fuck, IDK."
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, oh, I don't know. It must
Yeah.
have just been
Yeah.
one of these people.
Yeah.
But this movie, besides these little things that kind of gives us our little tidbits of the other movies, this movie's fucking scary.
Yes.
I don't like bunk beds, and there's a room where, of course, where the two girls who are friends and they have the bunk bed, and the little girl who has passed, her room's always locked. They're not to go in there, but of course they get in there, and then there's fucking demons. And there's the scene where she's trying to run and go hide in her bunk. And there's like darkness fucking coming in the room and like crawling out from under her bed and shit. It's like everything as a kid that you're scared of, you get in that movie because you have this great perspective of these young girls who want to stay together. They want to be adopted together. They're best friends, and one gets fucking possessed.
Yep.
But, the scenes of being in a scary house that you don't know, or seeing and hearing things that are scary and fucking things being underneath your bed, it checks all those boxes.
I was just getting ready to say it checks all the boxes for me too. Like, there's so many things in here that are good ways to scare me, like genuinely scare me. Like the scene, and I think they even showed it in some of the trailers, but it still fucking scared me even when I saw it in the movie, is where she's sitting there at the table, and then like you just hear the fucking cracking and the creaking,
yeah.
and she just like, it fucking grows into the demon, and you're just like, oh fuck. Like,
But it looks like, because it takes on the form of the little girl.
right.
And
right.
so this is the only thing that it really kind of ties into that little bit from The Conjuring, is the stuff starts happening in the house and the dad tries to communicate because he thinks it's the ghost or spirit of his dead daughter, and it's not. So when
It'd be a demon.
the little crayon notes that you see in that bit for The Conjuring also happens here, where she's like, "Find me," because they'd play hide and seek all the time. So basically, they know they have an evil entity in their house, which you find is basically held at bay with fucking torn up Bible pages taped all over the walls in a closet of their little dead girl's room. Like, what the fuck? And then you're like, hey,
that fucks me up too. Like, when
have
you
a bunch of
find-
girls
yeah.
come live here, but don't go in that room.
Don't go in that room. What, you mean the room with the fucking Bible closet? Oh, well, you found that. We're fucked.
Or the room full of toys.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so it's like that scene, you do see it in the trailer, because they see what looks like
I don't think they show it 100%.
No.
I don't think they show the full scene, but they show enough where you know what's happening, and then you see it in the
You
movie,
get the
and you're like, oh, this
creepy-
is that scene from the trailer.
You get the creepy like neck turn, and you were like, you can't
so
see us over here, but
fucking
we're sitting here making our
good.
arms look all fucking deformed.
There's the scene with the well. Wells freak me out.
The well, yeah.
Like, there's so much in that fucking movie that just like are genuinely scary shit. And of course,
Yeah.
it's directed by David F. Sandberg, who directed Lights Out. We talked about that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. One thing I said I was going to trash Annabelle, the original Annabelle from 2014, about while we're speaking of directors. David F. Sandberg, fucking legend, directed Lights Out, directed this. He's good in my book.
Yeah.
The first Annabelle, I think one of the reasons people didn't like it is I just discovered this right before we started recording. It was directed by a guy named John R. Leonetti. And if you know that name, you probably know it because he directed Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
The same fucking guy.
The same fucking guy. He directed one of the biggest piece of shit fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. And they're just like, yeah, here's fucking Annabelle.
Yeah.
We worked so hard to establish it in these first couple Conjuring movies. Here, you're going to fucking direct it. The guy who wrote You Will Die. The cheesy shit from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Like,
Because I love Mortal Kombat. I barely love Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Like, I love it so much because it's nostalgic.
It's
and
so
it's
bad
awful.
it's good. It's like Tommy Wiseau, The Room bad. It's so fucking bad. And this guy is the one they gave Annabelle to. So, yeah, I think that was probably a big reason why it didn't click with certain audiences.
It just felt a little discombobulated. It didn't quite feel like I was watching a whole movie.
No, it didn't. Like, it starts off so
Some
strong.
good scares aside.
Right.
Like, yeah.
It starts off so strong with the girl breaking in, trying to get Annabelle. And, of course, again, we talked about how they tied that into creation. Like, that shit is good, but it just kind of, it loses its footing towards the end. It really doesn't deliver in the end. But yeah, and then it brings us to Annabelle Comes Home, the third movie. And it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it other than it's a midquel. Because it's like, it's not quite, it's like, it's before Annabelle, but it's like after Annabelle creation, right? Like, that's where it falls into the timeline. And I'm not, like, it's because the Warrens still have her.
Right.
The Warrens.
This is where they have Annabelle.
Right. And we see the Warrens. We see Ed and Lorraine, played by Patrick and Vera.
Yeah.
And Judy is, of course, played by this wonderful kid actress who we've all come to know and love lately, McKenna Grace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about them recasting her in general, but at least they got a good actress for it.
Solid actress.
So, yes, Judy takes on kind of the main character, and she's being babysat. I'm a fucking sucker for a good babysitter movie.
Hell yeah.
Give me a babysitter being, hunted by something.
The babysitter wants a good friend to come over,
Yep.
and then, so it's kind of like it's like her birthday as well.
Yeah, Judy's birthday is
Judy's
coming up.
birthday's coming up because
Yeah.
the babysitter's wanting to, like, make a cake.
Right.
But yeah, you get, of course, they go into the iconic room that the Warrens keep all this stuff locked up into. And it's kind of like if you took Annabelle and, like, that Goosebumps movie and, like, Jumanji and threw it together.
Right, I could see that.
Because
scary stories to tell in the dark a
Right.
little bit too. It almost feels like Annabelle for teens. And it's like, but it's not bad, like, by any means. Like, I really fucking enjoy this movie.
Me too. I thought it was so fun seeing some of the, because, like, you always see the room, like, even in the first movie at the end, he sets the little music box down in the room,
right?
Like, you see other things in there.
He takes the reporter on the tour,
right?
And
he's like, don't touch anything, and it's like, you kind of want to know what some of the story is behind those other, like, what cool little hauntings could we do with these. And you get that with this movie.
It feels kind of Scooby-Doo,
right?
Where it's like I feel like they could do a whole TV series of like, the Warrens have a new babysitter this week. What kind of hijinks will they get into when they go into the room?
Well,
and you just have a new fucking kid every week going in there like, oh golly gee willikers, what am I in for this time?
So it's like you pick an item and see what you get.
Right. It is. It's very like, you could do a whole fucking anthology. Fucking TV series with the Warrens room.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be fucking fun as hell.
I'd
love to see
and
it.
Obviously, some of the stuff that they do in the movie are definitely, I think pretty much everything has some sort of origin story, whether it's, a generic type of one, because there's like the bridal dress.
There's the samurai kind of
there's the samurai armor there.
Yeah.
There's the girl that plays with the coins, which is one of my favorite things because I
coins.
love the whole paying the ferryman.
Yep.
Seeing that was really fucking cool.
Well, that whole scene is pretty fucking terrifying, where the main babysitter is like in the kitchen with the coin guy. Like, that fucking scene freaks me out more than anything.
There's
in
something
that movie.
really freaky about it's really weird to say because it's just somebody with coins over their eyes, but there's something really Coraline-y about it.
Yeah, there is. I
that
agree.
makes it feel really freaky. But you also
Funko Poppy.
Like, she has to try to, like, pay to go through to, like, get people back and shit. And there's also a fucking werewolf on the loose.
There's a fucking werewolf for, like, and that's one of the minor plot points is the fucking werewolf. Like, let that sink in. This movie's fucking nuts. One of my favorite scenes is when Judy is stuck in the room and you've got like that color changing kind of carousel like toy flipping through, and you see it almost go through the stages of like and how it ties into the other Annabelle movies, because you see the little girl from Annabelle Creation, the toy maker's daughter. You see the older Janice, who has become Annabelle, and Annabelle Higgins, who is the lady who tries to fucking take the doll and all that.
Yep.
It's like you see all the different stages and forms that Annabelle has taken, and it's so fucking creepy. It's so good. It's so good.
It's good Annabelle haunting, like
right, with some campy teen shit thrown
Yeah.
in there. It's really
because
good.
it's like
in my
you
opinion.
have the babysitter and her friends and like the guy that there's like a crush or
The little
whatever.
crush. Bob's got
Yeah.
balls.
He's like
Fucking
yeah.
one of the worst nicknames I've ever
Right?
heard in a fucking movie.
He's the one that's like running away from the werewolf in the fog out in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like just trying to fucking figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these cool things happening. I love the I mentioned the bridal dress, which like everyone has a story. Like, there's like the women in white. Like, oh, it was the lady of the house and people see her in her wedding dress, and you kind of get one of those.
She died the day before she was supposed to get married.
In her wedding dress.
Right,
yeah. But that's one of those scenes in the movie that's really fucking cool, where she's in a room across the hall, and the way you see the door move, there's a good panning moment where you see the woman that's like in the bridal dress in the other room, and she's
one of those
like
signature James Wan shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not James Wan directing this; it's Gary Dauberman.
No, but it's got the vibes.
But he captures the
vibes are
James
there.
Wan vibe
Yeah.
very good, and it makes sense. He's worked with James Wan in the past on some stuff.
Yeah, a lot of peripheral views and cool panning camera shots, but yeah, you get a lot of really cool malicious spirits that are all out, and it's basically like winning Jumanji to get them all back.
It's so good. I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's like all real shit aside with the Annabelle doll and the Warrens and all that shitty stuff. It's like the Annabelle movies are a lot of fun to me. They start off rocky, but man, Creation and Comes Home are really good follow-up movies, to the point where it's like, okay, I know we talked about it the other day and how the Conjuring universe could probably die at this point. It's kind of like it's kind of horror's MCU.
Yeah.
Like we could probably take a break for a little bit. But I don't know. The Annabelle movies have gotten increasingly good over time. And I would not be hesitant to say yes to another Annabelle movie.
Yeah. It's kind of, you talk about the Conjuring universe, kind of running on steam at this point. And I feel like there's so many scary movies that they could do with the same vibes. There's so many amazing true stories out there that they could do. Like, obviously, they've hinted at Amityville in the Conjuring movies before, and they've not done an Amityville. And would I want to see it? Like, sure, of course, if you're like, here's a new Amityville movie, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go fucking pay to see it. But I think stepping away from the Conjuring universe is one thing. Just make scary movies that we're going to like.
Right.
Because that's,
I see what you mean, yeah.
You can watch the Annabelle movies by themselves without watching any of the Conjuring movies, and you get it. Like, there's not a lot there that you really have to, like, understand with the Warrens, you know?
Not at all.
And I feel like kind of the same thing. You can watch you can watch The Nun, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, we talked about the other day, like, a lot of people shit on The Nun, but we enjoyed it. I'm excited to see the second one.
Yeah.
Would love to see a Crooked Man movie. It's like, I'm kind of torn. It's like, I think what I mean is, like, the main Conjuring movies can probably die.
Absolutely.
Don't want to see any more Curse of La Llorona. It's like, I think they need to stick with what they've got. They've got Annabelle, Valak, and I think Crooked Man could have been a great one. But at least,
within
it's like
the universe is one thing. I feel like, you've had, and there's about to be another one, I think, for the Conjuring series.
Yeah, Conjuring 4, The Nun 2. We're getting a few more movies. We're just not getting the ones I want to see.
Right.
No Crooked Man and no Annabelle.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, Annabelle, I feel like Annabelle Comes Home ended on a good note. I feel like if you did one more, I would almost be like, no, it's a little too much. Like, I would love more Annabelle, but I worry about where they would take it from
we
here.
talked about it in Sequelizer. The only choice is they have to go more and more far out. I want to see Annabelle in fucking space. Just like I talked about seeing Billy in space, I want to see Annabelle in space. We got to make it happen. Petition, starting it right now, change.org, make Annabelle 4 in space.
I don't think that one's going to happen, Stevie.
Well, on that note, it was a fun episode, guys.
You're about to miss the most important thing.
What did I miss?
Who would win in a fight? Megan, Chucky, or Annabelle?
You're really going to make me... See, I was trying to wrap the episode up because I don't want to have to choose.
Tough shit. I'm going to say it, Megan. Don't get me wrong. Chucky's got a lot of shit behind him. Megan's just super fucking advanced. Like, I know she gets taken out, but so does Chucky. We don't know where
Chucky
Megan's
gets taken out multiple fucking times.
Like, obviously he's got fucking decades worth of movies at this point, and Megan has one. But the way, how much more smart, like technology wise, not necessarily intellect, but the fact that she can mimic voices and record things and hack into anything, and that to me, I just feel like is such a huge advantage on top of being strong and fucking nimble as hell. But the fact that she can constantly learn on such an advanced level, I don't think any demon or any cult is going to be able to take that down.
That's fair. See, I was going to sit here and say, Chucky, you got to go with Chucky, right? But now that you say that, I'm like, Chucky has weaknesses because like we joked about, at the end of it, he's human. He's
Right.
Charles Lee Ray.
Yeah.
Megan's not human. Megan is inhuman. Like, Annabelle would have more of an advantage over Chucky when you think about it, because ultimately what makes Chucky weak is his humanity. He's like, and you can sit here and say, oh, he's a serial killer. He's not human. It's like, look at him and Tiff.
Well,
like, all Megan has to do is fucking mimic Tiff's voice.
Right.
And she's gonna fool Chucky.
Yeah.
It's like the minute that's his main weakness is Tiffany.
And any kind of tech that he could throw at her, she's going to be better at it.
Right.
But also, there's a lot of similarities with Chucky and Annabelle. I feel like Chucky would probably get over Annabelle for one big reason. He was an occultist. He knew how to put his soul into a fucking body of a plastic doll.
Right.
Like, he's going to know how to seal that bitch away without a fucking Bible.
In the words of George Michael, I know all the games you play because I play them too. And that's exactly what Chucky is.
Bingo.
That's the advantage he has. Like,
he's got
not
the
going to be off put.
He's got all of that on his side.
He does. He's got all those rituals.
Right.
You know what? So I think we're in agreement that Megan would probably take the cake because the technology and the advancements that she has at her disposal far outweigh her competition.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Megan takes it. And I hate to say that as a
I'm
huge
not trying
Chucky
to convince
fan.
you. I'm just saying.
No. I was
like...
gonna say Chucky, but like when you think about it, Chucky does have some pretty glaring weaknesses that Megan doesn't. And
I mean, even to the point, one of the best fucking things is when Andy has his head just fucking captive. So he can't go anywhere, do anything, can't talk when he doesn't want him to talk. Like, he's been held down before.
Yeah.
He's just got, the support system, obviously, with Tiff, and obviously there's more people now, to back him up. But, like, Megan's also, like, gonna have BFFs.
Oh, man, it would be a
Cult
I would
of
love
Megan.
to fucking see that.
Come on.
I hope Don Mancini is like beating down Jason Blum's door right now. Like, let's work together. Megan versus Chucky.
Right.
We got Freddy versus Jason. I think anything's possible.
I agree.
We could get a Megan versus Chucky film. We got Freddy versus Jason. We got Sadako versus Kayako. We gotta get.
I would absolutely fucking. If I could just had stupid money, I'd just go find these fucking people and be like, listen, we don't care if it's really particularly good, but I want to see it.
But we got to make it.
Yeah.
Like, Freddy versus Jason wasn't particularly good, but it's Freddy versus Jason.
It's Freddy versus Jason
I don't
with
give
a shit ton of one-liners.
What it could be.
The silent boy and the
right.
one that talks too much. Like, that's great.
It doesn't fucking matter. It's Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
I will love it forever. But yes, so I think we agree. Megan would take it. It breaks my heart to say as a Chucky fan, but
it doesn't make us love Chucky any less.
No, or Annabelle.
Nope.
This is just a fun exercise in, talking about horror movies. So we'll do the same thing all over again. Guys, thank you for joining us. This has been a blast. We love talking. Doll horror movies are some of our favorites. And like we said, there's some that we haven't even scratched the surface on.
I say, we just talking big three today. We have a lot of dolls to talk about.
We got a lot of dolls to talk about. So stick with us. You've all been dolls. And on that note, we'll leave you with this.
If heaven exists, it wouldn't be for boys like Brandon.
I guess not. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop every weekend. Follow us on TikTok @HorrorZoidPod and send emails to horrorzoidpod@gmail.com with your thoughts, questions, and stories for us to read on a future episode. To all our Zoids out there, stay scary.